Oh, hi, my name is Nazir Ahmed. I'm 23 years old from St. Paul, and I encountered ICE. I was detained, or let me rephrase it as I was kidnapped by ICE. I was kidnapped from ICE from my home. They came here, right there where I'm pointing at, and they came here. We're following two men. And while they were following two men, they came and stopped at this exact area near the office. And when they stopped by the office, I was walking towards that area, and I got caught in the middle of what was going on. I gave them my ID. I did whatever I was supposed to do by their orders. He used racial language, profound racial language towards me. And so that racial language felt very targeted. It was a word that many know of that is used towards black people. And I am a black person. I am a black person of Somali descent.
The Western liberal
and
mind,
that word is a very distressing word to hear, especially in this day and time and age where ICE is going around terrorizing citizens and going around targeting people, targeting specific people.
So they were kind of like surrounding you or asking you for papers.
Hello, everyone. I'm so sad. My name is T. Omar, and I was arrested 3 days ago, and they brutalized me, and they hit me in the head right there in the car, hit in the head. Oh no, I'm so sad. And then they called me a stupid nigger, and they drove me around, and then they arrested me. They drove me around, and then in the car, they said, "You are under arrest for being a nigger," and I did not know what I did wrong. And then they drove me around for hours. They shackled me. Hold on, my big tooth is falling. And then they put me in a jail cell with shackles on my legs. And then all of a sudden, they just let me go. And they say no why. They tell me no reason. They just let me go. And then they hit me in the head again. And I just don't know why.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Wherever this video finds you, welcome to Text. So, yes, I was up and about, sitting here at the computer at the desk when Ilhan Smollett had her little moment, her little fake moment. We'll get to that. We'll also get to that bananas and rice chick, because she wound up getting arrested. But she told her lies, and I'm trying not to be here too long, but there's a lot to get into. Had a good day, but let's get into this. The Disturbing Logic of the Left by Melanie Phillips.
The Western liberal mind conceives of itself as being good because it's liberal. The Western liberal tells him or herself, I'm a good person because I'm liberal, and I'm liberal because I'm a good person, which means that I believe in things like the brotherhood of man, conscience and compassion, looking after the wretched of the world, the poor and the wretched of the world, standing up against abuses of power. These are all good things, and that's why I'm a liberal. And I'm a liberal because of all these good things. So,
Just as racist.
one of the expressions of my goodness and my liberalism is that I support the Palestinian Arabs, who I think are an oppressed people, and they are oppressed by the Israelis, who have taken their land away from them, and they are oppressing them. Now, every part of that, in my view, is a lie. But put that to one side. This is what the liberal progressive thinks. And the liberal progressive thinks that supporting the Palestinians is therefore something that makes the liberal progressive a good person. October 7 happened, and suddenly you have a situation in which the people that the liberal progressive has supported as being oppressed, and everything they do is a legitimate defense or resistance against oppression, suddenly we can see that those people have turned into the most bloodthirsty savages that could ever be imagined. Not just people who kill, but who slaughter in a sadistic, barbaric, debauched and depraved fashion that people can't imagine ever happening. They have slaughtered, raped, beheaded, tortured, burned alive babies, children, women, elderly men, and others, and in which the people that they have supported as being oppressed and good people because they're victims are these savages. And the people they have represented as oppressors are the victims. They can't have that. Because if they have that, if they admit that that is the case, then their entire worldview is shattered, because the people, the cause they have supported as representing goodness is shown to be evil. And what does that make them? It makes them evil. So they can't have it. So what do? They go to extraordinary lengths to pretend that black is white, that justice is injustice, that oppression is resistance, and vice versa. So they have to represent the Israelis as being at fault. The Israelis are to blame for what's happened. So there is no better way of blaming people than accusing them of the very thing they are the victim of. Projection. So you accuse them of genocide. We hear it also regularly. The Israelis are accused of being Nazis. It's the same thing. It's not simply an offensive thing. It's a very deliberate thing, because if the Israelis are Nazis, then we are free. We, the liberal West, are free of any kind of guilt or any kind of association with bad things, because they are to blame. They are the people who are bad. And so we are free to continue with our fantasies of us being good people. And I think that's also what lay behind these amazing scenes that we saw on social media of people with their hands tearing down the posters of the hostages. Now you have to ask yourself, what's going through the mind of someone like that? These weren't posters advertising Israel. They weren't advertising the Israeli Defense Forces. They were pictures of babies, of children, of women who had been kidnapped by bloodthirsty monsters, by savage, depraved savages, and were being almost certainly subjected to untold horrors. And yet they were torn down, and the faces of the people tearing them down were contorted very often with rage and hate. And you have to ask yourself, what's going on in the mind of that person? And it seemed to me that they had to literally with their fingernails tear it out of sight. It was something that could not be tolerated to be in existence at all. The very concept of the Israeli babies and children as victims of the people they had been supporting, because it contradicted the narrative on which they had hung their own moral worth. And it seemed to me also they were tearing the Jews out, trying to tear the Jewish people completely out of their world, out of their sight, out of their world, out of their minds, out of their thoughts, and out of their consciences. That's to me what it represented. And this whole inversion of genocide thing is part of that. It is not just disgusting. It is not just ridiculous. It's evil. And I think it is a symptom of the evil paths into which the West has fallen through its embrace of a whole range of ideologies, a whole range of thinking, which I think has come to define what we call the liberal progressive West.
Yeah, that's why they're breaking their neck to support democratic socialists, which is really just Islamists. It's really just Islamists. That's all it is. Let's move on. Good news.
I hereby declare this an unlawful assembly.
Well, that was the scene in Maple Grove last night outside the Spring Hill Suites, where 26 people were arrested during an anti-ICE protest. Maple Grove police say that the arrests came after protesters damaged property and became violent toward officers.
Fox 9's Courtney Godfrey joining us now. And Courtney, many people are wondering if this signals maybe a change of course by local law enforcement in response to some of these protests.
Yeah, Simone, and certainly it's a change from what we've seen outside other hotel protests in the last several weeks, where protesters have largely been allowed to do their thing. But everyone I talked to today said this is nothing more than State Patrol following orders from the local jurisdiction they were there to help.
Of course, this was after Trump and Walz had that conversation. Finally, the Minneapolis police decided to do their damn jobs.
This was the scene
They're
in
arresting
Maple
you. That's what
Grove
they're
last
doing.
night
Stop-
as
stop
local
resisting.
police arrested more than 24 protesters who gathered outside a hotel where they believed ICE agents were staying.
Give me about 3 more feet, okay? Thank you.
Law enforcement ultimately arresting 26 people, half for gross misdemeanor riot, the other half for unlawful assembly, with 2 of those facing an additional charge of obstructing the legal process. Maple Grove Police saying in a press release today, while we respect First Amendment rights, we will not tolerate property damage or violence in our community. The Department of Homeland Security responding on X, saying, glad to see some state and local government cooperation. It's a start. And while plenty of people are trying to make a correlation between these arrests and President Trump's call with Governor Walz earlier in the day, the executive director of the state's largest public safety labor union says it likely has nothing to do with that.
Well, then why are you out there? You haven't been out there all month. Then suddenly, after the call, you out there. Now you care about property. What happened last week when they were attacking hotels, going from hotel to hotel, attacking hotels and destroying property? Where were you then?
I think the leadership in Maple Grove was not going to tolerate that in their community. And the decision makers over there made the decision to do arrests.
But he says it's a great example of why his group is pushing for an emergency summit to establish clear, coordinated policies for immigration enforcement.
We're just in a gray area here right now, and it's causing all of us confusion.
Yeah, a lot of confusion. Maple Grove police said in addition to those 26 arrests, they are investigating one additional person who fled the scene. State Patrol and the Department of Public Safety did not provide any comment. Guys?
All right, thank you, Courtney.
Let's get on to the main event.
Question over the weekend with respect to Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, who now has a net worth within the millions. And one must ask themselves why and how is that possible? Is she connected to the fraud rings that we have seen taking place within her state and her own district? It's a question the American people are raising, and the president believes it's one worth answering.
Well, it is a good question. Congresswoman Ilhan Omar entered Congress in 2019 with a net worth of next to nothing, really. But since then, she's apparently worth over $30 million. The House Oversight Committee says that's impossible without corruption. It is formally opening an investigation into Omar's mystery millions, even exploring a subpoena for Omar's husband over business gains that don't seem to add up. This is coming after a massive $9 billion Somali social services fraud scandal that's erupted in Omar's district. Charlie's got details of this. Charlie, let's start with her husband, a guy named Tim Minette, who was a political operative working with people who were involved in all these scandals, and particularly, of course, Omar, and then Keith Ellison when he was a member of Congress. He's now the Attorney General. He was in his. How does this guy Tim Minette go from being a a radical political operative to being essentially a hedge fund guy?
Well, no one really knows. I should point out that we spent at the Post 3 weeks, more than that, 4 weeks, almost a month on this story. Jeff Earl, great reporter in the Washington Bureau, took the lead. I helped out, especially with the Wall Street stuff. There's nothing illegal with Tim Mynett making money, okay? And there's nothing illegal with her wealth exploding when she marries Tim Mynett, who runs, theoretically, some sort of a fund. It's been described as a venture capital fund. It's been described as a private equity fund. If you go to the website, it said it once managed $60 billion in assets. And I interviewed, over a dozen people that are in this space. No one could figure out who this guy is. No one ever really heard of him outside the political realm. He was a very good, apparently, sort of progressive, political advisor. It's the money part that no one seems to understand. There's no disclosures. Now, we should point out, if you're a venture capital fund, you don't necessarily have to disclose. If you're a private equity fund with more than 100 million in assets, you should be disclosing with the SEC. There is no disclosure here. We don't know, based on this sort of obtuse way he discloses it on his website, Rose Lake Capital, I believe it is.
Yeah.
You don't know where the private equity and where the venture capital ends and begins. They do say 60 billion in assets, which, by the way, if you're running 60 billion in assets, that's several times higher than what Steve Cohen runs at his big hedge fund. I mean, you should leave some footprint. No one could figure it out. There is issues here with a side gig he had with a winery.
Right.
And there was also issues about who he put on his board. Look of his board of advisors, who kind of didn't know they were barely aware they were on the Max Baucus was on that. We tracked it
they
down.
Scrubbed that list, by the way, when all these stories
Well, they
broke.
scrubbed it.
You guys all said we didn't know we were advisors.
Well, they scrubbed it after the first Post story on it. And then Jeff actually spoke with Baucus on it, and he said I think they took his name off because he didn't know what they were doing.
He didn't have a clue. Jackie, let's just take a piece of this, that wine company, which went from having a value of $15,000 in 2023 to over 1 million, between 1 and 5 million just a year later. And yet you go into their site, you can't find the production, you can't find what they're selling. There have been people who've gone to the business, and sort of like the Somali scandal in Minneapolis, there's nobody there.
Right.
I mean, so there are these kind of phantom operations that are a part of this.
The wine business is a very hard business, especially for a new company. So to just open and all of a sudden, did you say within a year, skyrocket to over $1 million business, and then not really have much to show for it is interesting. Listen, I'm not going to condemn or judge anybody, but I'm going to say all the questions that you're raising are valid questions. As soon as I saw this, we started looking at the story like a few months ago at his net worth, and things didn't seem to jibe. So they have every right to look into it. Comer says that, what did he say here? His quote was that it's not possible. It's not. I'm a money guy. It's not possible. So do the investigation, and Ilhan Omar and her husband, if you have nothing to hide, then put it all out there and prove to people that this is completely legit.
Take the wine business out. I'm not an expert at wine. My wife I'm not. Particularly on the business side, the fund thing is interesting to me, only because it is possible to build a significant venture capital fund.
It is possible.
Based on your political connections with top people, and top people in the Democratic Party clearly know this guy. But what is baffling to me is, like, I know a lot of people in Silicon Valley. That's apparently where they do business. No one could figure out like what they're doing. I know all these people on Wall Street that are Democrats that would theoretically be in that mix.
Yeah.
They don't know this guy. I mean, when you run 60 billion in assets,
No, look, she was in.
You should leave some sort of a marker.
You talking about Dalton? You talking about Dalton? God, Tiffany, hear you.
Because y'all got false narratives out there, and y'all should be ashamed of yourself. Y'all black. Y'all are black. And y'all sitting up here beating and attacking on a black woman that's in power. Y'all should be ashamed of yourselves.
You talking about her? They're not plugged like the other politicians, right? My ex-mother-in-law, VP, and she got struck down for doing exactly the same stuff. the other white executives were doing. She was VP for a company. Yeah, you got to be plugged in. In fact, hold on, let me share this because I was downloading this while I was waiting on this. So they got her.
Ilhan Omar's official financial disclosures, and what I found was so dark and criminal. I don't know how she gets out of this without going to jail. Have a look at this. Here's Ilhan Omar's financial disclosure from the Congressional Record, year 2023. I want to bring your attention to this company right down here, Est Crew LLC. This is a winery in Santa Rosa, California. It's not doing that well. The total value of the winery is listed at $15,000, and Ilhan Omar's barely making any money off of it at all. Hardly enough to pay a parking ticket. Okay, that's fine. Nothing really mysterious there. Their businesses fail all the time. But go ahead and look at her filing for 2024, and you'll find that Est Crew Winery, the same company in the same location, is now worth $5 million. That's incredible, up from $15,000. And now Ilhan Omar's making enough to pay rent. So this must be one of the most successful companies ever. Let's go ahead and check in on this winery. You know, maybe we could buy some wine. I like wine. Why not? Let's see if we can buy some Est Crew Winery. Here's Est Crew's social media Facebook page. You'll see here that the last post, oh no, was in 2023. Wasn't this the year that they were supposed to, go really big and make Ilhan Omar millions of dollars? Same thing on their Instagram. And they don't have an X. So let's go ahead and check their official website. What is Est Crew? We are winemakers and memory curators, okay? Est Crew Winery has a bunch of brands that's led by these people, creators of eye-catching labels. So I'm sure I can go and get some of their wine, right? Well, they don't have any activities here, so maybe I could just go to their location and buy some of their wines, or maybe give them a call.
I don't know why. Let's
try and go to their location here. This is the Google Street View of Est Crew Winery, and what you'll find here is an empty parking lot. Doesn't actually look like an operational business. Certainly isn't the same name. So, okay, let's go ahead and give them a call. See if maybe they pick up. Let's go ahead and call the number on the webpage. Let's go ahead and give them a call and find out. Oh no, user busy. Let's try that, okay. Well, I've done this like 20 times today. Okay, so that didn't work. Is there any wine in this wine company? Is there anything about wine? Because I see like stuff about events, but like, what is this exactly? Aren't you supposed to sell wine at your wine company? Where are your wines? Oh, there are no wines. You wanna know why? Because this is a fake company. Rep. Ilhan Omar's husband accused of swindling investors in their California winery. They stole millions from cannabis growers. You can see here's the lawsuit right here, saying that Tim Minette, who's Ilhan Omar's third husband, no relation, swindled his investors and defrauded them. How did Minette get this relationship? Well, the current Attorney General of Minnesota, Keith Ellison, used to work for him. Isn't that curious? Keith Ellison, the same guy who refuses to look into any of the Somali fraud. So this company was sued for being a fraudulent company. And the New York Post says the exact same thing, as the House is now probing the mystery of Ilhan Omar's skyrocketing wealth. They said that Ilhan Omar went from being one of the poorest members of Congress, worth negative $65,000, to being one of the richest, worth $30 million. Here's a rare photo of one of their wines that they allegedly made, The Devil's Lie. But the entire company is actually a lie. It's not a lie to Ilhan Omar, though, because she's able to list an enormous amount of her income and an enormous amount of her net worth to this fake winery. This winery is not worth $5 million. The winery doesn't even exist. It's fake. It's fraudulent. They need to investigate this right now. This is a lie. And maybe it's the devil's lie.
Yeah. They got her dead to rights. They got her dead to rights. Yeah, she's toast. They got her dead to rights. I had to share that.
Taylor, the problem is that in this political environment that we're in, we know that whatever they turn up, unless it is nailed down and they can absolutely prove it, whether they're federal prosecutors or whomever, it's good. Ilhan Omar and the whole democratic system is going to come out and say it's a witch hunt, a political witch hunt. They'll probably use the phrase lawfare that Trump used against, I think rightly so, against him. But in this case, there seems more smoke there than there ever was under the Trump investigation.
Where there's smoke, there's usually some fire. Alleged, innocent until proven guilty. We'll follow all of those things. What I don't like is I think there needs to be changes in the reporting standards. So I believe it is the Ethics in Government Act, which requires you to check a preset box of your personal wealth. What I don't like is that box ranges from 1,000 to 15,000, and then let's go on. $1 million to 5 million.
5 to whatever.
But then there's 5 million to 25. So I could be worth 5, or I could be worth 25. I could be worth 25. I could be worth 50, or I could be worth over $50 million. So
but you should
let's
have
narrow
to,
those ranges.
But you should have to turn in your financial records. You can't, in all honesty, you shouldn't just say that. You should be able to prove it. And if you can't prove it, then the hell out of Congress.
Or put in a generally rounded to the next number, what it actually is worth, not this preset bracket.
Yeah, so I agree with that, but I think the problem with just sweeping this on the rug and saying lawfare is if you go to Rosalie Capital's website, it's very interesting. Just go there. It raises so many eyebrows between what they said they were, what their AUM, assets under management, what they're doing now. There's really no way to sort of get in touch with them as a.
It's like the daycare centers.
I don't want to say that.
Hard to get in touch with them.
That's a little bit like guilt by association.
Are we ever going to get to the bottom of it?
Of course we are.
Brian?
Yeah, we can get to the bottom of it. And we have to, because socialists in America have proven themselves profoundly good at getting rich the higher they get in the political world. And that is not an accident, and it's also not
part of the model, though.
It's part of the model.
So socialists use the capitalist system to get rich, to push socialism.
And more than the capitalist system.
A lot of millionaire socialists out there.
Yeah, George Soros.
And DHS Secretary Kristi Noem must resign or face impeachment.
Okay, here comes the Smollett moment. Can we laugh at her throwing? This chick probably weigh $105 with 10 of that being her turban or head wrap. Is she actually? Oh, by the way, the stuff that this guy sprayed on her was apple cider vinegar. He sprayed apple cider vinegar on her. It was determined. Look at that. She gonna throw her little fist up. She gonna throw her little fist up. Oh my God. That's how you know this stuff is fake.
I don't know. Oh my God. God, he sprayed something on her. I need a napkin to know nothing. So we will. No. You're fine. You need to go get checked. No, we will continue. These fucking assholes are not going to get away with it. You need to go get checked.
There, he's your guy. This little stunt, this goofy little stunt. I know ain't nobody falling for that. She tried to move like Nancy Pelosi. Nancy knows the dirt on everyone, so her enemies knew if they went at her, it would be mutual destruction. Yeah, this chick faking it. And she don't go sit herself down, trying to pretend like, oh, I am a freedoms fighter. This don't bother me. Like, quit lying. Of course it don't bother you, because it's fake. This whole thing is a fraud. She did this just like Jussie Smollett in order to try to gain sympathy because she know the walls are closing in. The DOJ is investigating her and her husband for that $30 million with that fake company. And I'm going to say this right now. I am very, very, very sick and tired of seeing YouTubers out here doing the FBI's job for them, investigating Somali fraud, daycare, travel, restaurants, schools, fake wineries. YouTubers are exposing fraud in the United States. I mean, damn, it was YouTubers that exposed the fraud going on in Dalton with Tiffany Hinger. This is why when Trump, when he was made president, he opened up the press to everybody. He said, you're the press. And they're making legacy media look bad. Nick Shirley makes legacy media look bad. Cam Higbee not only does he make legacy media look bad, these guys are making the FBI look bad. They making Cash Patel look like a joke. Cam Higbee discovered the signal chat where they're tracking ICE agents or anybody else that looked like they're driving an ICE vehicle. I think we saw that the other day. Was that on yesterday or the other day? Yeah, but they're tracking people, harassing people, stalking people, got agents' faces and everything, doing plate readers. Because you got somebody in Minnesota legislature, some lesbian white woman, doing plate readings. That guy who got shot, that pretty dude. I mean, you know, that's his name. That ain't what he is. But he sure thought he was pretty with all that girl makeup on and whatnot. Yeah, he was part of that ICE Watch group. And now you get this. Look at her fake speech. You know damn well that if this really did happen, if this was a real event, her security team was supposed to rush her out no matter what.
That's whatever it is smells so bad. She needs to go get checked. I don't know what that was. They want. It's not about him, Ilhan. It's about your safety. No, he sprayed something on you. You need to go get checked.
Right, you need to go get checked. But you're not going to get checked because it's fake.
We're gonna keep talking. Just give me 10 minutes. Just give me 10 minutes.
You don't have 10 minutes.
You still don't let them have the show.
You shouldn't have 10 minutes. But you want.
Here is the reality that people like this ugly man don't understand.
What do they not understand?
We are Minnesota strong, and we will stay resilient in the face of whatever they might throw at us. Everybody settle down. I'm going to finish my remarks. It is important for me to continue to lead my Democratic colleagues in demanding her resignation. And like I said, if she does not resign, we are going to introduce articles of impeachment.
Well, good luck with that. Good luck with that. It's not enough of you to impeach Kristi Noem. You don't have the votes. Good luck with that. How about you tell these idiotic citizens that you all are paying to protest, why don't you tell them, hey, look, stop putting your body. I know you won't because you don't care. But why about you tell these people stop putting their bodies on the lines? Blow the whistles, do the yelling and screaming, but do not interfere. You can't do that. You can't tell them that. Because then your cause is worthless. You need blood on the streets in order for your cause to be worth something. Because you're not going to go out there in the streets. You'll have some dude that you know spray apple cider vinegar on you and act like you're so under threat. Why you talk so tough? You calling him ugly, but you hate this country as you steal from it. Well, you know, it's kind of hard to fire security when they're part of the scam. You know, they're in on it.
This moment in U.S. history, and particularly in Minnesota, requires all of us to be working together to preserve our democracy. When we say we are going to put our lives on the line for what is our right, we mean that.
You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? But no, she means you, not her, you. We need you to put your life on the line to protect us Somalians who were caught stealing your tax dollars. That's what we need you to do. And you're dumb enough to do it. Thank God. Thank God you're dumb enough to do it.
Last week, my Republican colleagues put forth a Homeland Security funding bill that includes $28 billion for ICE and Border Patrol.
Yep.
I refuse to greenlit funding for a rogue agency that ICE escalates violence, operates above the law, and opposes our most basic freedoms.
Nobody cares.
I've already stated tonight, ICE is shooting people in broad daylight.
Why?
Beating up teenagers, spraying tear gas on peaceful protesters, ripping people out of their cars and homes without warrant, racially profiling people based on their accent, taking kids from schools and abducting people, shipping them far away detention camps with brutal conditions and no due process. We cannot treat this as business as usual. That's why I led the entire Congressional Progressive Caucus in opposing this bill. And we as a caucus adopted an official position. And now we have gotten all of the Democratic senators to agree to that position and hold ICE accountable.
Actually, that's not true. That's not true. Because John Fetterman is never on your side. He's never on your side. And you lost the guy in New Jersey. Look, they looking at him all mean. He's part of your team.
But this president's lawlessness does not stop with ICE and border enforcement.
All right, I've had enough of her BS. Let's see who this guy is that was arrested.
U.S. Representative Ilhan Omar speaking again tonight, this time from Carmel Mall, only 24 hours after an audience member at a town hall came at her with a syringe, spraying her with an unknown liquid.
Fox 9's Courtney Godfrey joining us now. And Courtney, what are you learning about the suspect tonight?
Well, we went to his neighborhood in South Minneapolis today, where his neighbors told us they saw him regularly walking his dog and that he would stop and talk to them. And they never suspected some of the things that we discovered on his social media pages. Representative Ilhan Omar attacked at a town hall.
Everybody settle down. I'm going to finish my remarks.
Representative Omar taking to social media afterwards, saying in part, "I'm okay, I'm a survivor, so this small agitator isn't going to intimidate me from doing my work. I don't let bullies win."
What is
that
your work?
bully identified as
Wait, what is your work? Stealing from American taxpayers?
55-year-old Andy Kazmierczak of South Minneapolis. A 5-year-old Andy.
You hear that name? It's because, from what I understand, because keep in mind, I'm watching this fresh just like y'all are. Supposedly, they're trying to say he's right wing, but listen to that name.
Bully identified as 55-year-old Andy Kazmierczak of South Minneapolis. Arrested and booked on third-degree assault charges, his social media channels filled with racist, anti-black, and
Hold on, let's go back. Let's take a look.
Anti-black.
Wait a minute, let me go back. Let's see here. Security for me, none for thee. Defund police. Omar and the squad spent a combined $100,000 on security last quarter. Well, that's true.
Filled with racist.
Let's see. Love it when they self-destruct. They keep having kids. They need to up the black-on-black crime.
Anti-black.
Let's see. Always with the stomp on the neck, kick in the face, howling like animal. Negroes always jumping into any fight because they are untrained beasts. Yeah, liberals say that a lot. Actually, both sides say that. Both sides say that. But because he said that, he's MAGA? When if you don't agree with a white liberal, you all sorts of coons and sellouts and N-words. Hey, the racism comes out of them when you don't agree with them.
An anti-democrat.
Crime is rampant in Minnesota today, and Keith Ellison is to blame. He has devoted his time to punishing small businesses during because what happened was, after COVID, the Somalians, because of the fraud money, came in and started buying up a lot of the property in Minneapolis and putting small businesses out of business. And yes, Keith Ellison must go. This guy is corrupt. So he's right-wing because what? He don't like her. He don't like Keith Ellison. He don't like criminal blacks.
Content. Hennepin County Attorney Mary Moriarty saying whatever he doused the Congresswoman with Tuesday was not toxic.
The preliminary reports we have is that what was sprayed on people was not toxic.
Councilmember Latricia Vitaw was in attendance and was only a few feet from the attack.
My reaction was, we got to get her to safety. We got to get everyone in this room to safety. I really didn't know what was going on.
She's denouncing such political violence and calling on others to do the same.
There is no room for political violence on any side, no matter what party you belong to. No one should be subjected to violence because they serve in elected office. I don't think any of us sign up for it. And I don't know what to do to stop it, but I know we have to come together and figure out how to stop this.
Hennepin County Attorney Mary Moriarty said today that they are considering their charging options, but she does expect that charges will come on the local level and the federal level. Meanwhile, Ilhan Omar continued with her public schedule, doing a public event in Minneapolis tonight. We're told that she did not address the attack, instead doubling down on her calls to abolish ICE and ask that Kristi Noem step down. Reporting live in Minneapolis tonight, Courtney Godfrey, Fox 9.
All right, thank you, Courtney. And talks between Governor Walz and President Trump have pointed toward a cool down on the ICE operations in Minnesota, but the governor says he's not counting unhatched chickens.
He talked about a wide range of topics.
Not going to happen. So he did speak. This is going to be 11 minutes and 7 seconds of pure DBS. Pure pure DBS. I'm trying to figure out. Yeah, it was playing. She gave him the signal. Yeah, what's good up there? What's the temp? Yeah, she gave him the signal. So let's find out. We're gonna have to stomach this. I was talking to a guy today at Charlie's Collectibles, and he was talking about he couldn't get past how Trump speaks. And I was like, well, you know, he's entertaining. Like, he's definitely good for ratings. He's definitely good for ratings, but you know, you got to cut the Trumpisms out and actually listen to what he's saying to understand exactly what he's saying. Because I explained to him, I said, look, back during the whole, you know, the Charlottesville situation and everything, and you know, we heard the very fine people. I thought that he had said that white supremacists were very fine people too, because I used to watch CNN too, and I clutched my pearls. But during the election, I started actually listening to what he had to say, especially after they tried to shoot him. Because it's like, okay, they're trying to throw this man in jail and bankrupt him, trying to kick him off the ticket, off the ballot, and then they tried to shoot him. Why? So then I started listening, and then I went and revisited that very fine people speech because it came back up. People was calling him racist. So I went back, and somebody said that's not what he said. Like, somebody said, go watch the whole speech. So I did. I watched that whole press conference. And I was like, wait a minute. He didn't say racists were very fine people. He didn't say white supremacists were very fine people. He said there were very fine people on both sides who were peacefully protesting, and then came some bad actors and they started a melee. And he condemned them for doing that. He did not say that white supremacists were very fine people. Like, CNN got sitting up here perpetuated a lie. No wonder he called them fake news. And after that, I was like, let me pay attention to what this guy's talking about. Let me make up my own mind, my own decision. It's the birth of this channel. I was not going to let a news organization tell me how to think based on my feelings, because CNN is good for playing on your fifis. Liberals play on fifis. It's the party of white supremacist, man-hating, lesbian feminists. They foster people like this. Don Lemon, Abby Phillips, Charlemagne. Who's that? Booty Butt Cheeks. Roland Martin. All of these Ricky Smiley, all these losers on the left. These aren't people you would want around you. If you do, God help you. People are low IQ and racist. They lie to you. They're predatory. Speaking of which,
it's good to see you.
It's good to see you. Welcome to Minneapolis.
How are you doing after last night?
I'm doing okay.
Can you take us through what happened in your head at that moment?
Yeah, I mean, I arrived at my town hall just a little after it started. And I got on the podium to introduce local reps who usually come to my town hall to give local updates. You know, as you know, we do monthly town halls.
You do one every month,
One every
right?
month
Yeah.
since I've been elected. And then, you know, I went into my own updates of what has been happening. And I remember seeing someone say something close. I was reading, so I wasn't like
looking
you know
out,
at that moment. I remember feeling like someone was saying something close to.
You know how you can tell she's lying, that this was all a setup? Because she's trying to go by the rehearsal. But she forgot all. Wait a minute. So I was I mean, this is supposed to be something that if this happened to you and you're an elected official and you had no idea this was coming, this is supposed to be very traumatic. This is supposed to be something very traumatic, especially for a woman. You ain't tough. You're not tough. You forgot the script just that quick.
To me, and I looked up, and there was a man plunging towards me. And there was like some liquid thing that I, at the moment, thought it was like a spit. And so I, instinctively tried to like punch him basically for trying to spit on me.
You thought he was spitting on you?
Yes, because there's some liquid that hit my folder and the podium, and then I could feel maybe something.
So you thought a guy had come up and spit at you?
That's what I thought. And then I heard,
which
yes.
is why you did this.
Well, I mean, that was, I was raised with 3 brothers who are older than me. And so, you learn that maybe taking the first punch when somebody is bigger than you yields you better results.
No, it doesn't.
Obviously, security tackled him. It looks like he...
I wasn't able to make contact with him.
You did not, yes. Although that image has gotten everywhere today.
Yeah, he was saved by the security.
He was saved by security.
I guess my question to you is...
He was saved by security.
Endless and basically constant threats, right?
Yeah.
I mean, in your time in public life, the president eggs him on. He clearly paints a target on you.
The president egged him on?
Happened. She said she probably set it up. It was a false flag, like she set it up to do to herself. Have you acclimated to this to a degree, or is there some part of you that still feels freaked out when something like that happens?
You know what? I understand this all to be is an intimidation tactic, whether it is the president's deranged rants attacking me, my family, and my community, or whether it is, this deranged person showing up, trying to assault me, is that they want to intimidate me from public life. And I am not one to be intimidated. And, I could hear people saying there were liquids and all of this, but I wasn't feeling, and impacting nobody around me seemed to be feeling an impact. So my first instinct was to say, let's not give him what he wanted, which was for us to run, for me to be cleared out of the room, for our town hall and my ability to perform the duties in which I was elected by my constituents to do. And so regardless of what that was, if it wasn't hindering me at that moment, it was my duty to continue to do my job. And I know that the president is trying to gaslight us, but that's not surprising because, this is a government that came out and said, Alex was brandishing a gun, when, we know that's not what happened in all the videos that we have seen. So they're basically trying to tell us not to believe our own eyes. We saw them shoot Renee Good point blank in the head.
Why?
And they told us that she was trying to hit the officers and that she was some sort of domestic
terrorist. Yes.
Terrorist.
How did he get internal
in the video
bleeding?
It says, dude, I'm not mad at you.
How did he get
that's
internal
the most
bleeding?
thing that you can say to someone to de-escalate anything. And they told us that the car was going towards them when you can clearly see that she's trying to maneuver the car around them. And so it is very clear that we cannot trust a single word that comes out of President Trump's mouth and the rest of his administration. They continuously lie. We know that the search that they have here, this occupation that they've created by DHS agents, even though they told us it was to crack down on, undocumented people who are violent criminals, worst of the worst. We've seen them break into the cars of innocent people. That young woman who's like, I'm disabled, I'm trying to make it to my doctor's appointment. Or whether it's the young man in Cedar Riverside who's on a lunch break and is trying to tell them, I have my passport with me, I have my documents, I'm a US citizen. Or whether it is, family that is just trying to pick up their young child from
and abandon them,
which is what we saw with Liam and his dad in Columbia Heights, which is also in my district. They are not going after the worst of the worst. They are terrorizing us. And that is essentially because this is about retribution. This is about the fact that we didn't vote for him. This is the fact that we are a community that is strong, that is resilient.
You're illegals. You're not allowed to
vote. That shows the best of America.
I mean, we're in a mall right now. That's Somali American Mall, and there's a bunch of shops, and a bunch of people have told me that it would normally be incredibly busy here, that all the shop stalls would be open. A lot of them are closed, and that's because this intimidation is basically keeping people who are lawful citizens or even US citizens in their house for fear of what? Well, I mean, what do people tell you about why they're not leaving?
Yeah, I mean, you have to remember that the communities that he has chosen to target here, whether it is Somalis who survived war, whether it is Hmong who survived war, whether it is Burmese who survived war and execution, whether it is Ethiopians, Eritreans who survived war. The community here, or Latino Americans, the immigrant community in Minnesota are people who have fled terror, who have fled oppressive regimes. These are people who have been subjected to so much. I was having a conversation just with someone who came.
I guess that's why they steal so much.
40 years ago. And he said, he and his family, even though they've been a citizen of this country, feel scared to go outside the door. And I said to him, let's connect as people who, because he was like, I grew up under a dictatorship. I said, let's connect on that, because what do dictatorships produce? They produce fear.
Right.
They produce intimidation, and they produce for people to eventually self-isolate because they do not want to be disappeared, they do not want to be manhandled, and they do not want to be jailed. And so...
Well, here's the thing. And I said this when Trump got elected, and he started going after him. I said, look, if you carry your papers, you carry your ID on you, you can easily just show it. And they can check your ID. They're going to detain you. But you have morons like her and AOC and them telling them that you don't have to show them your ID, plead the fifth. This is why you wind up getting thrown into the back of a van and taken to a detention center until they figure out who you are. Even if you do show your ID, they have to check it to make sure that it's legal, because you guys love to give out fraudulent licenses up there in Minnesota and California.
This is a community that is reacting to that trauma. Right. So even though they are citizens,
decades and generations,
right? Even though they're citizens, even though their children are born in the U.S., their children are born to those stories and to that trauma, and so they're telling themselves and their children, like, I don't want to get pulled over, right? I don't like.
Right.
Then carry your ID.
Yourself to that. And so they are reflexively going back to that period of time, because that's what this looks like to them.
Final question for you, and I know you have to go. You were calling for Kristi Noem to resign when you were assaulted last night. Do you think Kristi Noem should resign? Do you think Stephen Miller should be out of a job? What do you want to see happen?
Yeah, I mean, definitely Kristi Noem should resign. If not, as Leader Hakeem Jeffries stated, we will initiate impeachment. nobody should ever have hired Stephen Miller, who basically is a copycat of the Nazis, and that's kind of the cruelty that he wants to inflict on people. He should definitely be out. I believe for his part in this, definitely should be prosecuted at some point.
Whatever.
You know, the level of cruelty also has been reflected in the man who attacked me, because he was angry in one of his social media posts that they were not picking up and deporting enough Somalis, that the photos that she was showing didn't have any Somalis in it. And so it just shows you,
I don't think he cares.
The anger and frustration that the president has created in people by going after Somali immigrants, even though he should know, because he knows the numbers, that we are not deportable, right?
You are.
And that, yes, because we are not deportable, when
you
he's
are
not able to
deportable.
produce what he promises, then you get people like this who will attack Somalis and will cause us harm. And when they say things need to be...
Let me explain something to you. You are deportable. You can be denaturalized and deported. I don't know who told you that. I don't know what civics class lied to you. I don't know what woke professor told you that lie. If you are a naturalized citizen and you commit a crime in the United States, they can denaturalize and deport you. Naturalization for immigrants is a privilege, not a right. It can be revoked. Would you like to test that gangster? Because I guarantee you, the Somalians that you all threw in prison up there in Minnesota, who aren't part of your clique, who are naturalized, when their sentences are over, they will be going back to Somalia. They will be denaturalized and they will be removed from the country. Would you like to put some money on that? And you will join them. You can try to impeach Kristi Noem. You can try to go after Stephen Miller. You can fake like you're going to throw somebody in jail. You don't have the power, and you won't have the power to do any of that. Not in the House, not in the Senate, and definitely not the presidency. It ain't enough of you hoes. Who's going to be your candidate for 2028? Who's your candidate? You, Gavin Newsom, AOC, Jasmine Crockett, Stephen A. Smith. Who's going to be your candidate? You'll probably be in prison. Gavin Newsom will probably be in prison, if not under serious investigation, like you are right now. AOC might find herself under investigation. Find out where her millions of dollars came from, just like yours. Jasmine Crockett is too stupid. They probably want her to run for president just so they can make a clown show out of her, like they're doing with her down there in Texas. So who?
Turned down? It is their rhetoric that is risking lives, that have already gotten people killed here in Minnesota, that is producing political violence. And they are creating the domestic terrorists that they speak about because they are acting like domestic terrorists.
Take Josh Shapiro. Good luck with that, with these people hating Jews. As much as these people hate Jews, good luck, Josh Shapiro.
So I'm Somali. I'm proud to be Somali.
This video comes courtesy of the conservative. Dang it. What is this brother's name? I'm sorry. I want to get his name right. Greg.
To me, being Somali isn't just eating bananas with rice.
Black
it's a lot. It's like It's an interesting thing. It's very hard to describe what.
She lied and said ICE agents beat her up, called her the N-word and all this stuff. But there's a video of her standing there around a bunch of ICE agents, and she spits at one, and therefore she got arrested. So now she's telling this whole lie with this fake bandage on her head. I mean, she got a cut here, but it didn't come from her ICE arrest.
It means to be Somali and what it means to be American, but it's like a cultural fusion. It's kind of like the bananas and rice. You know, people don't really see, like, you know, it's you know, people don't think, oh, you can eat bananas with rice, but that's what it's like to be Somali and American. It's like that combination of banana and rice, but you're gonna get what I mean.
Boy. So we got a nice little F around and find out story here, featuring a Somali woman by the name of Nasra Ahmed. This is a follow-up story to a story that I did probably a few days ago, maybe a week ago, about the Somali woman who in a press conference was boo-hoo-ing and crying racism against ICE, right? Claiming that she was basically arrested for no reason as an American citizen by ICE, and that ICE was just being racist towards her because she is Black and Somali, right? And it turns out, as we talked about at the time in which she told his story, her story was BS, right? It was nonsensical, okay? She claimed that ICE called her the N-word and brutalized her and all this stuff, right? This is what she claimed. And unfortunately, you had some people who seem to be more emotional when it comes to their analysis of politics nowadays, believe this very silly story that clearly from the beginning was a load of shit.
But ICE's abuses, I want to be clear, go well beyond one district, and it goes beyond immigrants, okay? Because American citizens have been dealing with the brunt of this out of control ICE situation. So Nasra Ahmed is a good example, 23-year-old US citizen who was arrested in her neighborhood and detained by ICE.
Can I say something? I used to watch TNT back in the early 2000s and whatnot. I think I dropped them around 2015 or something like that, because I realized that all they do is race bait. And concerning the old, you know, low-key white supremacist Anna here, you know, this scatterbrained Barbie, she was pushing the whole race baiting, conservatives are Nazis type of trope. And then, of course, remember, she got assaulted by a homeless dude, or I guess he's homeless, when she bent over to pick up her dog's boo-boo when she was wearing, you know, those leggings, them Lululemons. And she said she felt his hard on her crotch as he, you know, humped her a few times. Of course, you know, her milquetoast husband didn't do anything but clutch his pearls. And when she went and wrote about it, her experience, she said that the people automatically assumed that her assailant was Black, even though her assailant was white. She said she never said the color, but they, I mean, you know, these are Democrats. These are her people, her audience. They said that she was racist for wanting to call the police on a Black man. And she was like, I never said what color he was, but for the record, he was white. But they didn't care. They still dogpiled on her. And then she had somebody call her a birthing person, and she didn't like that. And they dogpiled her on that too. Matter of fact, it made the trans community, because they're the ones that call women birthing persons. It made the trans community go into an uproar, and the parasites of TYT, you know, people whose channels, they don't get any pub. They're just happy to have the TYT logo. They're happy to use the TYT logo in their videos as a TYT reporter / contributor or whatnot. You know, they think that gives them some type of pub. Yeah, they were so happy to do that. Well, they wound up yanking themselves, quitting. They quietly quit or verbally loudly quit TYT, like, and which to me is like good. That way Cenk Uygur can save some money. I mean, you see what's going on with so-called Dr. Rayshard Ritchie. He's as much of a doctor as Umar is. I mean, they going in on him hard with his race baiting self. He never says anything with all of the so-called doctorates that he has. He never says anything that would make you think that he has a doctorate in anything outside of bullshit. Just like Umar. So, Hannah just blew ass on Kamala Harris, though. Right, you know, it's like, make up your mind. Either you're not a liberal or you are. And right now, she's tap dancing because, you know, that's what white lesbian feminists do. They tap dance. Those who have a white lesbian feminist ideology, that's what they do. They tap dance. They have no idea what side of the fence they should be on. They have no idea. They have no clue. They're so bleeding heart.
Here she is recounting what happened. And again, remember, 23-year-old American citizen.
ICE came, they came out of their cars, they asked me to see my ID. And while they were asking me to see the ID, that man, he called me the N-word. They pushed me hard. They used a lot of violence. My body still hurts. I got a concussion. It's really hard for me to speak because of that concussion. And I was screaming. I was crying. I was so scared. I've never been arrested in my life. I don't have a criminal record. I have a clean record. I was in literal cuffs were put on my legs, cuffs on my hands. And I was actually detained with a Native American woman. And God bless her heart, she went through a lot too. She was also detained by ICE, and she was also a US citizen, and like me, and she had gashes on her face. They shattered her window. I'll never forget the fear that we both felt in our hearts that day.
Right.
So they're detaining Native Americans who, I don't know if you know that, they're called Native Americans because they're native to this land.
Incredible. I honestly don't understand how anybody with two brain cells to rub together falls for such an obvious fake fraudulent story. How do you fall for something like that? Seriously, right? How do you consider yourself a serious political commentator, analyst, and you're falling for the fakest stories in the book? Again, this is why you got to take your emotions out of this stuff, bruh. Come on, right? Come on, seriously. I just couldn't imagine, right? These people are known fraudsters. I would never fall for a story like that, right? I would never use that as an example of ICE arresting American citizens. This is how you know it ain't really happening as much as they claim, right? Because the stories that they're using are fraudulent, right? We know they're fraudulent because Pam Bondi just announced that she has arrested 16 agents of chaos for assaulting ICE, including this Somali woman, right? She says, I am on the ground in Minneapolis today. Federal agents have arrested 16 Minnesota rioters for allegedly assaulting federal law enforcement, people who have been resisting and impeding our federal law enforcement agents. We expect more arrests to come. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Nothing will stop President Trump and this Department of Justice from enforcing the law. Now, this woman, Nasra Ahmed, was a part of the arrest. And as you can see here, this is her. This is her, right? The same woman who was boo-hoo-whining, crying racism. Now they call me the N-word, right? I was brutalized, chained, handcuffed. This was racist. Rice and bananas, right? So we know it's bullshit. The reason why we know it's bullshit is because there was literal video evidence of what happened, which apparently some people didn't see, right? But I understand because I noticed this. Again, this is why I try to tell you guys that a lot of what's happening in the media right now is a psychological operation, right? It's a PR campaign and election interference on behalf of Democrats. Everybody's in on it, right? The national media is in on it. Democrats are in on it. Local media is in on it. All of them are in on it, right? Even obviously fraudulent fake stories like this, they don't care to actually do real research to look into it. What they care about is getting the story out there, making it go viral, not actually telling people what really happened or full context, just putting it out there to tug on people's heartstrings. They know that the average person is not paying that close of attention to it, right? The average person is not watching Black conservative perspective, right? They understand that. So they know that they can just put these stories out there and nobody's going to actually really look into it, okay? And find out what actually happened. But if you actually look into what actually happened in this situation, this woman did assault ICE agents and she was not brutalized and beaten, right? Even though she spit on one of the ICE agents. Let's watch this video. This is her. Boom. Assault, right? She spit on the ICE agent. Let's play it again. Boom. Now, the messed up part about this, every article, local news media, national news media that covered this story did not mention this part. They mentioned that there was a cell phone video of it, but they never included the cell phone video. Why didn't they include the cell phone video? Why did they include this video that was out there about what happened? Because they know that if they would have shown the video to their audiences, then that changes the story, right? Oh, this woman spit on the agent. And despite her spitting on the agent, they didn't brutalize her. They didn't beat her up. They didn't do any of the things that she claimed, right? They didn't do any of that. She was arrested. It was non-violent. The only violent person here was her, right? And then they walked her to the vehicle. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's what happened. That's what happened. But again, you wouldn't know that if you covered this story just based off what the media told you, because the media left that part out of it, right? They didn't show the video on purpose because showing the video goes against the narrative. This is why I've been trying to tell you guys, right? Truth is inconvenient for the narrative. This is why they don't tell the truth. They lie by omission. They lie by omission. So you got people who have been successfully been played, right? They get emotional. Oh, this girl is crying racism. ISIS, Gestapo. They're abusing people. They're taking away your rights. When they hear that stuff and then they, listen to these stories, they fall for it. They fall for it. And they don't even realize, hey, I'm being played. Hey, I'm being tricked. Hey, they're playing with my emotions, right? That's what we're dealing with. And is the media going to go back and correct it? Are they going to do a press conference? Right? Is the family going to do a press conference? Is the media?
No. Sorry, I don't want to run this whole video. But that's where we're at. Oh, wait. Because I got something to do. So there is a story I wanted to get to. Let's see here. Here we go.
Serving a criminal search warrant.
And who's the defendant?
And the criminal search warrant is under seal.
Right.
So breaking news: FBI criminal warrant on Fulton County 2020 ballots. This is what happened here in Atlanta today.
We don't even know who the target of the investigation is. This is nothing but sowing the seeds of distrust, right? This is a full frontal attack on democracy. This is a code red in America, in Fulton County. We've seen it in Minneapolis, and now we're seeing it here in Fulton County.
Shouldn't have stolen. You shouldn't have rigged the election. They found 300,000 votes earlier this month. Tulsi Gabbard, if you notice, ever since Tulsi Gabbard sat up there and made that silly little video, and Trump told her to go sit her ass down and go do her damn job, she's uncovered a lot. She's uncovered a lot. This is part of it. Bonnie Willis's case was dismissed because she had no grounds. And now the FBI is here to find out who hid the votes. When Trump said, what do you mean I'm losing Georgia? Find the votes. That's what Bonnie Willis built her case on. Trump on the phone call saying, find the votes. A Republican hadn't lost Georgia since 1994 to Bill Clinton. You telling me I lost to Joe Biden? That don't make no sense. Find the votes. Well, they found the votes. And now they're going to find out who hid the votes. So yes, they went right up in there in the election hub and started seizing records. This is an attack on democracy. You tried to lock up the president to cover up for a fraud that you all committed.
We must do everything that we can to protect the right to vote. These records are under seal. Judge McBurney has not issued an order opening these records or allowing these records to be viewed by the government. And until and unless he enters such an order, these records should not be seen or viewed by anyone. And so we're thankful to have our partners here from the state standing with.
Yeah, let's tell the truth. He's scared. He's scared, as well as he should be. Anybody involved, anybody that was involved in that 2020 election, you should be scared. You should be scared. If anything, you should be like, yeah, the FBI can come in here. We have nothing to hide. Everything is above board. We're above board. If you don't feel like you've done anything wrong, you shouldn't be out here making press conferences. But you want to know whose name is on those subpoenas? You want to know whose names are on those search warrants? You want to know whose names they're looking for? That, yeah, don't worry, they'll tell you. They'll tell you. When they start dragging you in for questioning, then you'll know. They came to get the records. Don't worry. They'll start questioning employees and former employees next. Water's starting to get a little hot, ain't it?
Because this, again, is a full frontal attack on democracy. And certainly,
you know what? I mean, let me just say that we are going to if there's a question of are we going to take all legal action to make sure that
you talking about Rashawn Kemp? Yeah, he's a Democrat. He's in Congress. See that congressional bin? He should be nervous. If he had anything to do with any of this, he should be nervous. But if you notice, you always see like a Jacob Fry and a Tim Walz and the Ilhan and the AOC, and Tiffany Henyard and Brandon Johnson and Newscomb. They get out here and they make all of these press conferences trying to rally the public, trying to make it seem like they're such the victim when they're the thief.
What I consider to be an assault on voters. This is an assault on your vote. So I think that, Marvin is an attorney. I'm an attorney. We are all trying to figure out what to do about this. But what we know is that does not even matter. We know in America right now, it does not even matter if what you are saying is the right thing. If our president wants to bring in the forces, he will. And
that's his job. He has the power.
It's in Fulton County now. So we have to protect. You need to go to your voter page, make sure that you are still registered to vote. You need to check every week. You need to be unafraid of these scare tactics, and you need to go out there and vote. Because what they're mostly afraid of is that you will vote them out. That is what.
Okay, hold on. See, you talking a lot of gobbledygook, chick. Because as long as you have your ID, you can vote. Just make sure you vote in your county. As long as because I didn't register nothing. I just took my driver's license, went down here around the corner to Fulton County. DeKalb County, and voted. Went right around the corner and voted with my driver's license. The woman scanned the license, make sure that it was legit. gave me the punch cards. Here you go. What are you talking about? You don't have to send in paperwork. Just go and vote. Hey, who you gonna vote out? You're in a majority red state. The people here in where we Atlanta, Atlanta, Macon, and I believe Augusta, y'all vote blue. So who are you gonna vote out in Georgia, in Atlanta, in Fulton County? What Republican are you going to vote out in Fulton County? A deep blue city. You sound ridiculous.
What they are afraid of, because midterm elections are going to be a course correction in this country, and they know it, and that's what they're afraid of. So we will not be deterred. We will work together in Fulton County. We will work together with our state partners, and we will move forward, and we will be here protecting your right to vote in Fulton County. Fulton County is a majority Democratic county.
Yes, it is.
So don't be confused as to why this is happening in Fulton County. It's very easy. Follow it. This is not difficult.
Because that's where the fraud is.
Oh, this is something that's so above my heads. It's not above your heads. You need to understand.
It is above our heads.
You have the power to change this, and you know that this election in 2026 is going to be in your hands. So let's protect it.
Why do you think this is happening right now?
I mean, because it's never too early to start.
It's retribution. He is enacting retribution. He's enacting retribution on Fulton County, on Minnesota, on places that did not vote for him.
Why isn't he asking for the 2024 ballots? How about the 2024 ballots? Do they want those, or there were no issues in 2024?
They couldn't get the
because the election was too big to rig. Stacey Abrams, yeah. Oh, let me tell you what happened with Stacey Abrams, who lost her, bid for governor in the landslide. She got $2 billion from the Biden administration over some damn ovens and refrigerators, talking about some clean air or some crap like that, some energy cost, whatever. And of course, the federal government went and got that money right back. And then they shut her charity down. They investigated her charities. And they fined her $300,000. They fined her $300,000, which effectively shut down her charity. She's bankrupt. That's what happened to Stacey Abrams. She's bankrupt. Claw bags, yeah. It's like the reach back. When the government do the reach back, oh no, you gonna bust it open. When the government do the reach back, you gonna be bent over that couch. Make it clap for Big Terry. Okay, Big Terry.
ballots. So now this is a criminal offense, but there's no named defendant.
That's right.
Yeah, so there is a civil lawsuit going on where they were seeking the exact same records. They sent a subpoena. It was denied because of the existing court order that put those records under seal, put these voting records under seal, and they couldn't get it then. They sent a subpoena. They've done it like 2 or 3 times. Right. And so since they could not get it the proper way legally through civil action, now miraculously there is a criminal action with an unnamed defendant. Who's the unnamed defendant?
It's probably going to be y'all.
Well, if it was criminal, why didn't they file the criminal search warrant prior to getting denied 2 times in the civil court?
Oh my God! Are you stupid or are you dumb? Are you stupid or are you dumb? The warrant was for the records. The warrant was for the records, because if there was a warrant for any arrest, y'all would be in cuffs. If your names were on those warrants, you would be in cuffs. The warrant was for the records. But don't worry, you'll probably be in cuffs pretty soon. Why are you sitting up here whining and crying on TV? This is for democracy. After you tried to put him in jail, you threw people in jail over this for trying to find out what happened to the missing votes. You threw people in jail, and now those people can possibly sue Fulton County for an excess of $15 million for malicious prosecution plus attorney's fees. That's what you did. And you cannot say that it's Trump's fault, because it was the Congressional Caucus of Georgia that said this. The Judiciary Committee of Georgia did this. They changed the case. They took it away from Fonnie Willis, who couldn't keep her legs closed, who out here going on trips on taxpayers' dimes through her boyfriend, her married boyfriend, who abandoned his family financially, not just physically, but financially too. Ain't gave his ex-wife a dime for their 2 kids. A dirty motherfucker. They couldn't stay away from each other. So they took the case away from her, gave it to another prosecutor. He went through the evidence and was like, this is bullshit, and tossed the case. This is malicious prosecution for nothing. You don't have a case. And Tulsi Gabbard found the damn votes. They have probable cause. 1, 2, Trump is coming for you. 3, 4, better cry like a whore.
When it is served, supposed to be unsealed. I do not know. I think a judge needs to answer that question. And I have asked the county attorney, and Commissioner Ivory has asked the county attorney to file whatever.
It looks like her box is trash.
In order to stop this madness.
Yeah, she looks up. Yeah, and his wife has cancer.
No,
yeah,
I heard they're going to try to. The FBI is supposed to be doing a press conference here at 6 o'clock.
Scoot over so we can bring Shay and Eric.
Yes.
Yeah, bring in another crybaby.
Yes. I think it's very important to bring our clerk of Superior Court, Madam Shay Alexander, who's been dealing with this all day, because the records are under her chain of custody.
Uh-oh.
Not at this time. I can't.
Uh-oh.
I'm still processing it. I came out to go to the store.
Look, she ain't got nothing to say. She ain't got nothing to say. Cause she like, you know what? She trying to contemplate in her head. Oh my God. What if they find out I did X, Y, Z? They gonna find the evidence. I'm in trouble. She flabbergasted. She might spend the rest of her life in prison. Oh my God.
Get some water and saw my colleagues and wanted to say hi. I'm just trying to get my staff some water right now. That's all I can do.
Wait. Let me back her up.
Not at this time. I can't. I'm still processing it. I came out to go to the store to get some water and saw my colleagues and wanted to say hi. I'm just trying to get my staff some water right now. That's all I can do.
Right now, clerk.
I don't know what's going on.
So I'll say this: the first
somebody tell her,
warrant was to the elections hub, which was incorrect, and so that had to be sent back, and they had to get a new warrant directed to the clerk of Superior Court, Madam Shay, because she is the holder of the archives from the elections. And so apparently they have now done that. They're now going in there. My question is, I want to make sure that there is a full and complete inventory, because these are the original voting records, original absentee ballots, right? Mm-hmm. And so once that stuff leaves our custody, where is the chain of custody? Once it leaves our control, how can we know if we're going to get everything back? How can we know if they might do something?
We won't. We don't know.
We won't, and we don't know.
They're taking pallets.
Yeah.
We're not doing any.
Yeah,
we don't even know what they're taking.
The ballots are on pallets because because Fulton County runs great elections, and elections from 2020 would already be archived, sealed, put in boxes, put on pallets, and secured. They wouldn't just be boxes floating around, allowed to be accessed. So they already are on pallets, and they're removing the whole pallets.
Well,
so
yeah.
How can we then inventory what they're taking? And you can only see what is happening on the outside of the pallet. You would not be able to see on the inside what the boxes are on the pallets. This is intentional.
Yeah, it's called collection of evidence.
Yeah, they're leaving the building right now. What did the warrant say? The warrant said all the 2020 ballots, absentee ballots. No, they said what they were coming here to get, and they're getting it.
How does this search warrant supersede the seal? That's the part I think we're not understanding.
Because
wait. So she's saying they came and grabbed the absentee ballots. You know, like what happened up there in Pennsylvania, all them absentee ballots that just suddenly flooded in at damn near at the midnight hour. Say she ain't get caught up. They trying to rope her in. Right. She was like, I just came out here to get some water, and y'all out here holding press conferences. So they coming to check the absentee ballots, she said. Why are you nervous? I mean, they're in the hands of the federal government. They're in the hands of the FBI. Why are you nervous? You think you have more power than the FBI? You know, those are the top cops of the United States. Now, if they go through those absentee ballots and them social security numbers don't match up, somebody going to jail. A bunch of somebodies are going to jail. Is that why you're nervous? You think that they're going to fraudulently say that these aren't true after y'all committed the fraud? Did you really think that the FBI was going to sit there and let y'all write down everything? Write down all those false ballots that y'all let slip through?
It's criminal versus civil. The seal is a civil case. They came and brought a criminal case, so that is why it's not connected. And that's what the lawyers are working on right now. What do we do next? And we have there's a band of lawyers right here working on it all.
You know what you do? Since it's a band of you all start paying your own retainer fees. You all need to huddle up amongst yourselves and try to get your story straight. That's what you need to do. That's the only thing you can do, is to huddle up and get your story straight. Because they tried, like she said, first they tried civilly. They wanted to be nice about it. Because, if you had nothing to hide, then you would have coughed it up. But you fought against it. So now they were like, well, you know what? Fine. We tried to be nice about it. Now we're just going to come with a criminal warrant. And there's nothing you can do. You can't stop that because they have probable cause. And look at all y'all scared. Look at this white woman. Look how she's looking at her, knowing that she's full of crap. I don't know what he's smirking for. But yeah, we all lawyers. Yeah, okay. You gonna have to yourself up in order to get out of this mess, bro.
Right here, working on it all. It's intentional for people to be in office who have the skills to deal with these things. And all of us are trying to come together to figure out what to do next. There's a band of people working on because we're under assault. I mean, I think you know that.
Is this unprecedented?
Of course. He's unprecedented.
Well, election fraud is.
It is.
I was going to say it's unprecedented, but it's part of the
It is. We just had a town hall last week on Thursday about elections. We knew this was going to happen. This is about sowing the seed of fear that people will not show up to the polls in May and November. This is what it is.
Why won't they?
I'm 100% sure this is what it is.
Why won't they? I will.
Do any of our state reps want to say anything? Certainly, we're glad to have you all speak.
Representative Draper is our resident voting rights expert to talk about where we are.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Syra Draper. I'm the State House Representative for House District 90. Ever since 2020, there is a man who cannot get over the fact that he lost here in Georgia. He simply cannot get over it. And now, in a vindictive nature, he is coming after us. Now, since 2020, there have been many attempts to get at the documents in Fulton County and to undermine the confidence in what Fulton County has done. But there have been audits after audits. There have been court cases filed here in Fulton County to find out what has gone on. There has been an independent investigation through the SCB that absolved Fulton County of any kind of misconduct or systemic voter fraud.
You mean during the Biden administration?
Has not happened here. I would tell you if this administration had a genuine interest in getting to voter fraud, they should be investigating Coffee County, where we have actual evidence of people going into the election office after hours and copying election documents. But there's not an interest in going to Coffee County, which is a red county. Fulton County is being targeted because it is the largest county in Georgia and it is the home of Atlanta.
That's right.
So this does not pass the smell test, obviously. They have failed at every juncture to be able to get these documents. And so they have now.
But they have the documents. And what you're saying about Coffee County, if that's true, then press charges. Why didn't you press charges if it's true? Where's the case?
Found this loophole to try and get to it, but I will tell you that we are not done. We are going to continue to stand up for the rights of voters. And I agree with everything Commissioner Ivory said, that the best thing that you can do as a Georgia citizen is get to the polls and cast your ballot, because they wouldn't be trying so hard to stop you from voting if they weren't worried about what the impact would be. Thank you. Anybody else like to?
Nobody's trying to stop anybody from voting. The state senator looks Iranian. State senator, yeah. Nobody's trying to stop you from voting. Who's trying? Did they say don't come vote? They want you to vote. That's why they want voter ID, which is really your state ID or your driver's license. Show some ID. Let's see if it's legitimate in the system. But you know, liberals love to steal, don't they?
All right, thank you, everybody.
Can we clarify
And play the victim.
just when and why the ballots were placed under seal? Just for clarification. I think that's the normal process. Yeah. That is the normal process. I'm saying Commissioner Barrett has joined us. Certainly, if you want to say something, Commissioner Barrett, the normal process is for those records to be under seal.
Yeah, they aren't just for people to be able to come and review, right? Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, everybody. I'm also just coming out after talking to all of our experts. I mean, obviously, we're doing everything that we must legally, but I agree with my colleagues. We are all absolutely going to stand up and make sure that Fulton County voters get to cast their vote in the 2026 election and the 2028 election. There is no excuse for the state elections board to take over our elections. As I said earlier today, this is political theater. It is a distraction from the actions that are, of ICE in Minnesota, killing people, the threats of Pam Bondi to not leave Minnesota if they don't turn over their voter rolls. I mean, this is the kind of things that are happening. So, this is just unacceptable, and we are following the law, but we will defend Fulton County votes at all costs.
Has anything been filed that will keep the patients here? A stay, filed to the judge, so we can try to get a stay, anything where these documents cannot leave here. Because we do know how important it is.
Yeah.
These are
Not yet. We've asked the attorney to take the appropriate action, and she is investigating to see what can be filed and under what circumstances it can be filed.
Nothing.
Certainly, we don't want to get in the way of a criminal investigation, but it's a criminal investigation to nowhere.
Yeah, and I will only add that I know our county attorneys are talking to some of the top criminal attorneys that are in town and know how to handle these cases. So we're getting advice from the best.
Yeah.
I do think this is a pretext for trying to take over Fulton County elections. The Georgia legislature with SB 202 passed a provision that the state could overtake specific counties if certain circumstances were met. They attempted to do that with Fulton County, but the independent report recommended that the state not take over Fulton County elections. So they tried to do this. They failed, and now they're going for another bite at the apple. So that is a very real risk when the Republican-run Georgia state government tries to overtake what's happening in Fulton County and what's happening with Fulton voters who have elected their representatives to run their elections.
Yeah, there are multiple things going on in Fulton. There are multiple things going on in Fulton County right now that we are battling. So this is just one of many. I think you'll see the attack on Fulton get even deeper as we get closer and closer, and as the elections begin to play themselves out. So I think this is to be continued, certainly not just what's happening today.
I think it's also worth noting that the 2024 election, nobody's questioning that.
Yeah, right.
The 2024 election in Fulton County went perfectly. You know who won? You wonder why? That's why. So we know our elections are run smoothly here. No matter what they take out of here, we already know what they're going to say about what they take. It's not going to be the truth. It's going to be that Fulton County did something wrong. Heaven forbid they put more of our election workers at risk with this new investigation.
At risk of what?
And frankly, the 2020 election is a moot point. The 2020 election is moot. The election is over. The man has already been elected again. So why were we looking at anything with 2020? Why does it matter?
To military.
We already stole the election. We already stole the election. Why are you looking at it now?
Our elections and to scare people to going to the polls. That's why. That is the only reason. This is not meant to be able to put him, give him something that he can get back. That election is way over. This is to make you fearful of moving forward. And we know that he does that really well, but we're not going to fall for it. And so we're going to move forward doing what Fulton County always does, runs fair and free and accurate elections. And that's what we do.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Can we laugh? Hold on. We changed the music. Can we laugh at that? Can we laugh at that? These people, they went to the whataboutisms and don't look over here. You know what I'm saying? They got every excuse. I cheated on you 6 months ago. Why are you worried about it now? Oh my God. They scared. They thought that they would be able to get away with it. Let's be honest. They thought they would be able to get away with stealing the 2020 election. And them mail-in ballots, if they find out that, like y'all said, you got deceased people, you have illegals, them social security numbers don't match up. Yeah, somebody's going to prison. A few somebodies are going to prison. Why do you think Minnesota don't want to turn over their records? Why do you think Oregon doesn't want to turn over their records? Why do you think California doesn't want to turn over their records? I mean, if you try to do it in a civilly, I mean, sure, you can fight against it. But if they suspect fraud, then yes, they will come in with a criminal warrant. And you'll be on the news doing just what these fools did. It didn't do nothing. I didn't do nothing. Why y'all coming after me? I didn't do nothing.
Trump bad. Trump bad.
Yeah, look at Pennsylvania, Michigan-based voters, right? Man, Trump ain't even got started in Michigan. It's gonna be a whole lot of Islamists run up out of there. Ooh, we just getting started. All right, y'all. Let me get out of here. Like I said, I got something to do. You guys be easy. Peace out. Be safe, please.
No, gentlemen, Mr. Butler's been up north, I hear. Don't you agree with us, Mr. Butler?
I think it's hard winning a war with words, gentlemen.
What do you mean, sir?
I mean, Mr. Hamilton, there's not a cannon factory in the whole South.
What difference does that make, sir, to a gentleman?
I'm afraid it's going to make a great deal of difference to a great many gentlemen, sir.
Are you hinting, Mr. Butler, that the Yankees can lick us?
No, I'm not hinting. I'm saying very plainly that the Yankees are better equipped than we. They've got factories, shipyards, coal mines, and a fleet to bottle up our harbors and starve us to death. All we've got is cotton and slaves and arrogance.
That's treachery!
I have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
All right, bye. Thanks for the fun.
Get the fuck out!